Hello girls and squirrels, happy Wednesday and welcome back to my channel.
Hi, I'm Christina Sherilyn and I'm a vintage reseller, which means I rummage through people's unwanted items and find the most amazing vintage pieces to give them a second chance. I love styling up vintage clothing in a modern way, investigating the history of each piece, and most of all, I love the treasure hunt. So follow along on my journey and let's see what we can find.
So today we are continuing the pros and cons of each selling platform series on my channel. This is a series where I go over the pros and cons of each selling platform. These are all from sellers' perspectives. I got you guys on Instagram to tell me what the pros and cons were of each platform for you as a seller. So today, we are going to be talking about Etsy and Depop specifically, and in the next video, we're going to be talking about the alternative selling platforms like Facebook Marketplace and Instagram, things like that. But today, we're going to be talking about Etsy and Depop. So we're going to start with Etsy. I'm going to start with the cons so we can end on a bright note as usual. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so the number one con on the list is fees. So the listing fee, hidden fees, and their payout system. So Etsy charges you for every item that you list. They charge you a flat fee of 20 cents per listing. That is on every item across the board. Now the fees in general on Etsy, I'm gonna put on the screen because I don't wanna misspeak or give you any false knowledge of these fees. So I'm going to put them on the screen right here so you guys can check that out. Just like eBay, pretty much, there's a ton of like little fees that kind of add up. And then a lot of people said that they don't like their payout system. So with Etsy, it basically goes into your Etsy payment account. Your listing fees, if you have ones that have added up and you haven't paid for those yet, like say it's in the middle of the month and you've listed like 10 items, so you have those 20-cent fees that have, piled up, it will automatically take it out of the funds if you make a sale. So that's kind of annoying. You can't wait. I mean, it's nice because you don't have to worry about paying it at the end of the month, but also I know a lot of people like to just do it all at once. So that could be an issue. And then when it comes to getting your money, they do direct deposit, but you have to wait like 24 hours after the sale. It has to be shipped. And of course, like on weekends and stuff like that, that messes up when you get paid out because of banks not being open and things like that. So you do have to wait a little bit for your money. It's not as bad as POSHMARK, I will say that. But yeah, you do have to wait on your money. You don't get it instantly. Number 2 on the list was no cons. A lot of people said that they have absolutely no issue with Etsy, which is a first in this series. No one has ever said that about any other platform, so that is actually kind of encouraging. Number 3 is it's only handmade and vintage items. So with Etsy, you're not allowed to sell modern day items. You're only allowed to sell vintage, antique, and handmade items. The definition of vintage is anything 20 years or older, and then antique is 100 years and older. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of what types of things you can sell. So currently in the year 2021, anything from 2001 or before, you are allowed to sell on Etsy. Number 4 is there's no offers to likers option. Etsy allows you to create coupon codes for your shop. So a lot of people I've seen when I've favorited items on Etsy, the seller will send me a coupon code, and that's could be an easy way to, kind of send an offer to likers. So that's kind of like a loophole. Etsy also allows you to run sales in your closet where you can discount certain items. You can choose which items you want to be on sale and you can do a certain percentage. So that is nice. There are some other options for the offers situation. Number 5 is the cover photos get cropped, which I agree. I hate this. The first photo, like your cover photo, gets cropped. I'll show you an example right here. Your photo gets cropped. So if you're used to taking photos, like I take all of my photos in square mode because that's what every other platform uses basically, except for Etsy. It's not a huge deal because when you click on the listing, you can see like the full thing. And usually like there's enough of my product in the cropped photo where it's not really like a huge deal. It just doesn't look as amazing as it would if it was in square mode. So that is kind of annoying. It's one of those things where it's like, it's not going to make or break. Like, I'm not going to change the way I do photos just to accommodate one platform, but it is kind of annoying. Number 6 is Etsy changes often. They are constantly updating, doing new things. You know, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It is hard to keep up with all the changes, but also I feel like they are improving a lot. Some things that they've decided to do lately, I'm like, that probably wasn't the best change. But yeah, it does change often, and it's not one of those platforms that's just like steady running and like you always know what you're gonna get, because you don't. Number 7 is it's a saturated market. There are a ton of sellers and it is kind of competitive because there are so many sellers. So I do see that where it is a saturated platform, but that's just because it's such a huge platform, in my opinion. I don't really see that as a con necessarily, but I can see where you guys are coming from saying that it is saturated, because it is huge and there are a ton of items, especially like with handmade stuff. There's a ton of like the same item and you have to be very competitive with your pricing. So that turns into an issue for that. Number 8, somebody said Etsy is a bunch of snobs. I agree. I agree, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Because people are willing to pay a lot more on Etsy, but Etsy is a little more uptight than most platforms. I do agree with that. And last but not least, this is from a buyer's perspective. She said shipping cost and it's less personal. I know we as sellers have completely different ways of doing things. I try to make every platform personal. I always message my buyer after they buy something and I tell them thank you for buying it. I let them know when I'm going to ship it out. And I've actually noticed on Etsy that a lot of people like will message me back. Like, here's an example. I sold a cancer mug the other day and I told the buyer, thank you for your purchase. You know, I will ship this out tomorrow. Thank you so much for supporting my small business, things like that. I'll put the message on the screen because it's really cute. And he messaged me back and said, thank you so much. This is a gift for my wife. It happens to match my Scorpio mug. And I thought that was so cool. And I love that he shared that with me. So in my experience, I think it just depends on the seller, how personal it is. It can be very unpersonal. I've bought a lot on Etsy as well as sold. There's sometimes where I order and I don't hear from them at all. I don't get like a thank you or anything. It's just like they ship my order and that's it, which is fine. I don't care. But I have come across some really personal sellers. So this is an encouragement to you guys as sellers on any platform, is to be personal, because that is important to buyers. As you can see, it creates repeat customers and it gives them when a customer gets a warm, fuzzy feeling about your business, they want to continue to support you and purchase from you. So definitely be personal no matter what platform you're selling on. All right, so let's get into the pros of Etsy. Number 1 was higher sales prices. Agreed. Things sell for so much higher on Etsy. And that kind of goes back to me saying that like snobs is a good thing. Because when people log on to Etsy, they know they're at least spending $20. You're not getting off Etsy without spending $20. It is higher priced stuff and people go on Etsy they know they're about to spend money and they don't have an issue spending that money. I've never gotten someone, ask if I would sell something for lower, anything like that. People on Etsy know they're going to spend money. So higher price sales is definitely one of the biggest pros for Etsy, especially with vintage. If you are putting vintage items up on Etsy, price those bad boys high. Number 2 is more traffic and a large customer base. Like we were talking about earlier in the cons, with it being kind of like oversaturated, that's because it is one of the largest selling platforms. I think it's right under eBay. It's very well known. Etsy has a great reputation, so there is a ton of traffic on Etsy and a large customer base. Number 3 is vintage does very well. Like I said in the first one, higher sales price those vintage items high. There are people on Etsy every day looking for those vintage goodies that they just can't find anywhere else. So if you are a vintage seller, I highly recommend being on Etsy. Number 4 is handmade items. It is a platform where obviously handmade items are expected from customers. They go on there looking for handmade items. You can sell handmade items anywhere. You can sell them on Poshmark or eBay or whatnot, but they might sit for a little longer because that's not what that customer is looking for. Like if a customer goes on to Poshmark, they're not going on there with the intention of finding handmade items. Not to say that it wouldn't sell, but it would just do better on Etsy. So if you have handmade items, I would recommend Etsy. Number 5 is quality items. This comes from buyers' perspectives and sellers' perspectives alike. There are tons of really good quality items on Etsy, and it's one of those platforms that as a buyer myself, I know that if I buy from Etsy, it's going to be great quality and I don't have to worry about it. Obviously, there's always like bad apples in every bunch. It's not, the possibility is not, null and void. It's not 0%, but there is a, lesser chance of you getting a bad quality item from Etsy. Number 6 is it's creative and curated. I agree. I love Etsy for that. You can find just about anything on there that you're looking for, any niche market type of thing you can find on Etsy, and the shops are so beautiful and curated. I could literally scroll on Etsy forever just as a customer. And number 7 is it's professional looking. Like I was saying, people have beautiful shops on Etsy and they really spend time on their shops, and you can tell people really care about the items that they sell on Etsy. Number 8 is seller control. Etsy offers a ton of different features, seller tools. Etsy is one of the most in-depth platforms when it comes to seller tools and, allowing sellers to choose a lot of things in their shop, like the discount codes and the promotions that you can run. Basically, you have free reign over your shop and they give you the tools to do that, which is amazing. Number 9 is the SEO. Now, they did change up their SEO where you have to, they stopped running ads. Basically, I found this out like a few days ago that they stopped running Google ads and they're now making you pay for Google ads, which is a con. So there's another little bonus con for you guys. You now have to pay for Google ads on Etsy. Their search system is very good, like within their app or website. They do give you stats and all of that on your business profile on Etsy, so it is nice to look at that. You can see how many customers or viewers have come from Google, things like that. So they do give you a really good in-depth detailed list of where your traffic is coming from, basically. But that is one thing to note, that they are now making you pay for Google ads. So something to keep in mind. And last but not least on our list is features for sellers, which we've kind of already talked about. I just touched on right there. Ton of different features. They are a platform that provides sellers with probably the most information compared to any other platform. Alrighty, so now that we've covered Etsy, let's get into Depop. We're going to start with the cons again and end with the pros. So number 1 on the list for cons is no sales and lowball offers. Depop is one of those hit or miss platforms. It's like my surprise platform, if that makes sense. I never know when I'm going to get sales on Depop. They're just random, and usually they're pretty good sales, but it's just a random sale. It'll just be like cha-ching, and I'm like, yes, come through Depop. And then lowball offers. Yes, I get a lot of lowball offers. A lot of messages where people will be like, oh, will you take such and such for this item? And I'll be like, yes, just let me know when you're ready and I'll drop the price. And then I never hear from them again. So that's kind of frustrating. And then a lot of times I get just ridiculously lowball offers, and I always message back and say, no, I can't go that low, but if you can meet me here, fine. And sometimes they'll take it, sometimes I just won't hear from them again. So that's fun. But just like every other platform, Number 2 is it's a younger audience. It is definitely a Gen Z platform. It is teens, early 20s primarily, which has a lot to do with the flakiness and the lowball offers. So keep that in mind. It is definitely a Gen Z platform for sure, and some younger millennials. Number 3 is modeling. A lot of people on Depop model their items because it is a younger generation that's on the platform. They've kind of made it into Instagram, where they model all of their items. Now, someone who does model their items, this wasn't an issue for me. But if you are a seller who has never modeled your items, or you don't like modeling, or you can't model some of your items because they don't fit, that is a con for some people. I've seen plenty of sellers on there who don't model their items. It's not a must on Depop. It's just something that a lot of people do, so people feel the need to do it. But I've sold plenty of items on there that weren't modeled, and it's been just fine. So don't hang yourself up on the modeling aspect of Depop. Which leads us to number 4, which is kind of a serious topic. A lot of you guys said that there was mid-size and plus size hate on Depop, and a lot of that stems from the modeling aspect of Depop, and that's just not okay. Again, I think this really comes from it being such a young platform, and there's teenagers on there, so teenagers can be kind of mean. They always have been, always will be, it doesn't matter what generation it is, so that there's been a little bit of mid-size or plus size hate when it comes to modeling photos and things like that on Depop. But please don't let that scare you. There's gonna be terrible people everywhere, and some of my favorite sellers on Depop are mid-size and plus size sellers, and they kill it, especially with the vintage. They just look, so cool, and I love it so much. I love to see it, so don't let that deter you. Just be aware of it when you are going on to Depop. And like I said, with the modeling, if you're not comfortable modeling your items, or you just don't want to, don't. Like I said, I've sold plenty of items that were not modeled in any way whatsoever. They were just on a hanger, and they sold just as easily as the modeled ones. So don't let that scare you or deter you from getting on Depop just because you don't model your items. Number 5 is you're only allowed 4 photos and 1 video. This is something that irritates the crap out of me, especially someone who's used to we have a train. We have a train. I'll be right back. Okay, I think the train is gone. Anyways, you're only allowed 4 photos and 1 video, and that's irritating, especially coming from platforms that allow you up to 12 or 16 photos. Depop only allows you 4 photos, which is just crazy to me. How are you? Mr. Train. Mr. Train. Really? I thought we were done. I didn't realize how long this train was until I started filming videos here. It happens all the time too. It happens at 2 o'clock in the morning. We've gotten used to it, thank God, but she's loud and invasive. She's being very loud in this Burger King right now. So coming from platforms where you're allowed to have 12, 14, whatever plus photos, I lost my train of thought. Getting used to 4 photos is crazy. So usually what I do is, if I've modeled the item, I have my model shot first as my cover shot, and then I have the front of the item, the back of the item. I use the last photo to show any flaws of the item. If it doesn't have any flaws or anything like that, then my last photo will be the tag. On Depop, you just have to prioritize what you're going to show. You can also use an app called, I'm pretty sure it's called Layout, where you can choose multiple photos, make a grid, but that helps with the lack of available photo space on Depop. They also do allow 1 video, which I don't use. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys use videos, when platforms offer the ability to do a video. I know Poshmark's doing it now. Do you guys actually use that? Is it helpful as a buyer? Do you care if there's a video? Let me know. All right, number 6 is there's no offer/accept offer feature. It's all done through DMs, which is a pain in the butt. It really is. And hopefully they change this soon. I feel like they're probably working towards that, but as of right now, someone has to send you a message and say, will you take this for this? If I'm gonna take that offer, I say yes, just let me know when you're ready and I will change the price. I never just immediately change the price because, like I said, I've had people say, oh, will you take $15 for this item? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Let me know when you're ready. And then I never hear from them again. So I don't change my price. I wait for them to tell me they're ready to buy, and then I change the price. So that's just a little tip for that. Number 7 is their shipping system. Depop's shipping system is kind of like Mercari, where it's the tiers, and it makes no sense. So for under 4 ounces, it's $3.75. For under 8 ounces, it's $4.75. For under a pound, it's $6.75. Under 2 pounds is $11, and under 10 pounds is $15, which Again, like Mercari is just, it doesn't make any sense, and you should just do your own shipping. I always choose to do my own shipping. I ship through USPS every time. Depop customers pay through PayPal, so you just go on PayPal, go to your activities section, it'll show their transaction from Depop, and you just click print shipping label, do your shipping from there. Trust me, do not use Depop shipping, just do it yourself. It'll save you time and effort. It's so much easier. Number 8 is categories, and somebody mentioned that they are getting better with this, and they are. Their categories used to be like Mercari's. They might as well have not been there, but they are getting a lot better with their categories. So I will give them that they are stepping up their category game. What is happening? Number 9 is customer service. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that I don't even know how to contact Depop, like at all. I'll let you know on the screen if they have an email or a number or whatever. I've not personally had to deal with Depop customer service. I've heard that some people just go through PayPal instead because it is all the transactions on Depop go through PayPal. So you would just dispute it with PayPal, I assume. But I can't really speak on customer service. But a lot of you said that their customer service isn't great, which, what's new? Because that's been a running steady thing through all of these platforms is their customer service. Number 10 is shop analytics. There are none. There's no shop analytics. It's not a very seller-friendly platform when it comes to that. It's basically like for hobby sellers or like teenagers selling their clothes. It's not really like a business seller platform. So that's kind of irritating, but that just means you have to keep up with it on your own. I mean, I personally just keep up with my stuff by myself anyways. I don't trust platforms to do it for me. Number 11 is the transactions are all through PayPal. To me, I personally love this because you get your money immediately. Anytime anyone buys anything from you on Depop, it goes straight to your PayPal account, which I love. I love immediate money. So to me, that's not a con. But a couple of you did say that they didn't like that all transactions go through PayPal and not Depop itself. And last but not least on our cons list is there's no sales tax collected. Again, it's not really a business-friendly selling platform. So that is something that you will have to calculate yourself. Alrighty, that was kind of a lot of cons. I didn't realize there were so many. But anyways, let's move on to the pros of Depop. So number 1 is it's a trendy and younger audience. Trendy pieces sell very well. I'll let you know right now, if you're looking to go on Depop and sell early 2000s, 90s, vintage stuff does really well on Depop. Just funky, trendy pieces. Google, Pinterest, look it up, see what Gen Z is into, and that's what you should list on Depop. That's what's going to sell. So trendy, younger audience, great. They're sassy, but we love them. Number 2 is listing is very simple. Yes, I agree. Depop is one of the easiest platforms to list on. It's kind of like Poshmark in that sense, where it's just easy and straightforward, which is nice. I love that. Number 3 is weird stuff sells, and it's not brand oriented. So like I said, early 2000s, 90s, vintage stuff, it doesn't matter what the brand is. If it's cool, it's funky, it's trendy, it's hip, it's new. I sound old. Sell it on Depop. That's what I was trying to say. Number 4 is it's easy to use. The platform I want to compare it to is Instagram. It's set up like Instagram, basically. It looks like if Instagram was a selling platform. That's how it is. You double tap to like something. So it's very familiar already. It's not hard to learn how to do it because for most of us, you do it every day. So it's very easy to use and very easy to get used to. Number 5 is modeled photos and high quality photos. A lot of people like that things are modeled on Depop. As a buyer, I like modeled photos because it just brings pieces to life. There's just certain pieces, especially with vintage, that you don't get the essence of it unless it's on a body. It really comes to life when somebody wears it and styles it. I find that, especially with vintage, if you style it and model it, it gives people an idea of how they can wear that item, so they're more likely to buy it, as opposed to it just being hung on a hanger and they don't have any idea what to do with it. They have to use their own creative mind. Not to say that items don't sell if they're on hangers, because like I said, I've sold plenty of things that were just on hangers. I never used to model, but I do feel like, especially with vintage items, that it just gives it a little oomph. And there's other ways to show how to style items. You can do flat lays, things like that. Just add a little bit of spice to your photos. If you guys want some tips on how to show how to style an item without wearing it or modeling it, I could do a video on that. So let me know, because I've done different things in the past to show how to style an item and give customers like an idea of how they could use it, which I think is really helpful and appreciated on behalf of buyers. If you guys want me to do that video, let me know down in the comments below. All right, number 6 is fees. So Depop's fees are 10%, and that's including shipping. So whatever you charge for your item, whatever you charge for shipping, the total amount that your buyer pays you, 10% is taken from that total by Depop. And then you have a 2.9% fee from PayPal and a 30-cent fee from PayPal as well. And that's the only fees. They're straightforward. You know what's getting taken every time, which is nice. We love that. And last but not least, for our pros list, we have higher price sales, which may be surprising because a lot of people said in the cons list that they had no sales or low price, low ball offer sales. And I am here to root for the higher price sales on Depop, especially vintage. Some of my best vintage sales have come from Depop. Now, Depop is not a steady platform for me by any means. Like I said, it's my surprise sale platform. But when I do make sales, like full price sales, they're really good ones. They're like $80 or like $50. Like, I'm very surprised by how high certain vintage pieces sell on Depop. It never hurts to have your vintage items listed on Depop. It's free to list, and you never know, you could get some little surprise sales. One thing I do want to talk about, nobody brought this up, and I feel like a lot of people don't even know this, but there is a way to refresh your items in your feed and get more traffic to your Depop shop. It's like the edit next list method on POSHMARK. I'll show you guys how to do it. I'll do a little screen recording and put it on the screen so you guys can see how I do it. But you just hit edit and then you hit next like you're going to list it, and it will go back up to the top of your shop, and it goes in the top of news feeds of your followers and stuff like that. So that is a way to share your listings on Depop and refresh them and kind of promote them. That was something I had no idea about, but once I figured that out, it really changed the game on Depop for me and got me a lot more traffic and sales on there. So that is something I encourage you to do if you sell on Depop already, or if you're looking to get into Depop. Whew, I feel like this video has been very long-winded. I didn't realize how much information was going to be in this video. So that does it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments below, and I would be happy to help you with anything when it comes to Etsy or Depop. If you sell on Etsy and Depop already, let us know down in the comments what your favorite thing about that platform is and what your least favorite thing about that platform is. I would love to hear from you. I always love hearing you guys' opinions. You guys always make me laugh, and I just love to hear from you. So sound off in the comments below. I'll be down there replying to you guys and answering any questions that you may have. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure and give it a thumbs up on your way out. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join our family. We would love to have you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.